Hi everyone, it's Tess from teachwithtess.com and I'm here today on my channel where we talk about Wales English, teaching English online and working from home. And I'm really happy today to have, for the second instalment, shall we say, of Wales Teacher Talks, I've got Lesley and Graham and Naomi Cutler with me today, and we're going to be talking about one of our favourite, should I say, curriculums, which is the English Starter Course, and it's just great. It's Wales English's introduction to reading, and it is what we offer young children from the age of 2 or 3 sometimes to help them to read. This curriculum is all based around the Bob books, and it is a fantastic curriculum that I, as a teacher of ESC, have seen so many children come through from knowing absolutely no English at all to reading, and it's the most satisfying thing to talk about and to teach, should I say. So I'd really like you to stay tuned and listen to the conversation that we had this afternoon. It was really fun. We shared some ideas, some tips, challenges, all this sort of stuff, and I hope it's useful to you. Do like my channel and subscribe if I keep on doing this. Like my videos, subscribe to my channel, and then you'll be alerted of the new content. And you know, I'm hoping that we will do regular Wales Teachers Talk videos. So enjoy this. I hope you learn lots, and I'll see you soon. Hi everyone. So here I am with two Super Wales English teachers, Naomi Cutler and Lesley Ann Graham. So we're here today, as you know, to talk about ESC, which is an English starter class. It is, isn't it? Course. There you go, it starts well. English starter course that Wales English do. And Naomi, could you just introduce yourself and say how long you've been with Wales?
Of course. So my name is Naomi. I live in the southwest of England, and I've been with Wales since November 2019, so about 9 months now.
Okay. And Lesley Ann?
Hello, I'm Lesley Ann. I live in Carmarthenshire in southwest Wales, and I've been teaching for Wales English for about 6 weeks now.
Okay, and I'm very similar to Naomi. I've been here, I've been with Wales since November 2019, and I'm based in Gloucestershire, so we're a very local group, which is nice. And so today what I thought I would do is I'm going to ask you 2 questions, because you're both really experienced ESC teachers, and they'll probably be slightly different perspectives, because, you know, Lesley Ann, you've been teaching obviously less time than Naomi, and I teach too, the ESC curriculum. So I thought the first question I'd ask was quite simply, Naomi, how many lessons of ESC do you teach?
I have 6 sets of regulars, so that's 12 a week, because because you see them twice a week. So yeah, I teach ESC 12 times a week. Okay, and Lesley Ann?
I have 13 sets of children, so I do 26 classes a week.
Wow. You must be tired all the time.
I know, it's crazy. I was teaching 5 sets of regulars, and I've just had a load of them finish and sort of go to the next level. But I've now got 3 sets of regulars and occasional trials, and that's it.
Yeah, trials too.
Yeah, and trials too. So as you said, Naomi, they're 25 minutes, they're twice a week. How long do these courses last, Lesley Ann?
It's 30 classes. Is it 30 or 40?
What is it? I think it's 40.
It's 40 lessons.
They're 40 lessons, aren't they?
Yeah, twice a week, so 20 weeks.
So they're quite intense, aren't they? They really are.
Mm-hmm.
And now this is an interesting one. So what sort of ages are the children that are taught in the ESC classes?
I think the youngest I've ever had has been 3, and my oldest one is 7. So.
Okay, Lesley Ann?
So for me, most of my children are 2, and then the oldest one I have is 5.
Wonderful. I think mine have been 3 to 7, which tends to be, so I think you're going to be Lesley Ann, you're going to be the expert at teaching younger children, so we'll be digging into that a little bit more.
You must have a reputation for it. They must just be like, she's good, let's give her those.
Yeah, seriously, they must absolutely love you, because it's not easy to teach 2-year-olds.
Oh.
It really isn't, is it? I think let's start with let's all share. Why do you, if you do, like or love teaching ESC classes? Lesley Ann.
I like the fun environment. So I have a lot of stuffed animals that come to class, and we have a naughty monkey that likes to eat a lot of cookies in class, and things like that. And just the interaction with them and having to interact with the parents as well, because a lot of the times with the babies, the parents do the class with them. So I just think it's really fun.
Yeah. What about you, Naomi?
Yeah, I kind of second what Lesley Ann said. It's just so much fun. And I think you have more scope to do what you like with the course because the materials themselves are quite simple. So it's up to our imaginations to make it fun and make it exciting. And I know some teachers hate that and that's why they don't like to teach ESC, but I love like being overly enthusiastic and making the kids laugh, which is like the best thing to do in ESC.
It's such fun. I'll tell you something. I think another thing I'd add to that, because I completely agree with what you two say, but I've also found it because I've just come to the end of my, well, like you know, the first set of ESC classes, because we've been there roughly the time it takes to do a whole course. And I found it just so amazing to see these little kids arrive in class unable to read or really recognize letters and know the sounds, and they're going. One of my sets, okay, they were baby geniuses, and they've skipped pre-K and gone straight to GKA. Oh, unbelievable. No, I mean, talk about extension. But I think that is something else that I've really loved seeing is progress. Yeah. I don't know, what stories of progress have you two got?
I'm the same. One of my oldest courses, they're on about lesson 35 now. Yeah. And just thinking about what they were like at lesson 1, it's amazing to see, like, they couldn't even say, hello, my name is Angela or whatever. And now they're just, I can speak quicker. I can ask them anything and they just instantly reply. And you're like, oh, we did this together. This is so nice.
What about you, Lesley Ann? Because how long have you actually been teaching any of the courses? Where have you got to in the 40
So I'm on week 5 now with most of them.
Okay.
So we're into like the dot 1, 2, and 3. And I have a little girl who is 2. And on the first week, she literally just parroted everything. And now I'll log in and I'll be like, oh, hello, what's your name? And she'll tell me straight away what her name is and how are you? And she'll tell me, I'm happy, I'm sad. So she's come on in such a short time.
It's so satisfying. I think this is one of the, you really see this in this course in a way you don't at the different levels. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
So huge the progress they can make about it, that in it. It's amazing. And what about the challenging aspects of ESC? What do you either struggle with? Where would you like more help, or what sort of things we could maybe share a few tips and some advice that might be useful to other teachers too? I don't know, Lesley Ann, what do you find challenging about the course?
I think the biggest one for me is the later classes, so the 7 and 8 o'clock Beijing time classes. With the tinies, they're tired and they want to sleep, and it's trying to keep them engaged while they're trying to fall asleep on the table and just trying to keep them focused. And sometimes you win and sometimes you lose.
Yeah. Have you had one actually fall asleep on you?
I have, yeah. Mum was like, I'm so sorry, he's tired.
Okay, so fatigue. What else? Naomi, what about you?
I think one of the biggest challenges is the fact that the course can be quite repetitive. It's just a lot of letters and alphabet and blending. And because the kids are so young, they don't always understand instructions. So it's sometimes harder to make it more fun because you try to tell them to do something and they don't. So it's like, how do you keep it exciting whilst basically repeating the same things quite often?
And that's a good question. How do you keep it exciting when you're repeating the same things? What sort of, because I mean, I think as far as, I'm just thinking from my own perspective of things I struggle with. I think sometimes, I've taught, there's been a class which have carried on now into pre-K. I've had a real difference in level. And one of the children, he just, he interacted, he read really quickly. He understood it very fast. And the other one was just, it was like really, he needed so much help. And that was quite challenging at that sort of level, because, you know, you've got one who's just bored senseless and the other one who is, I mean, this happens in other levels, but in the ESC classes, I find that quite hard. I don't know, have you got any classes like that? Or are they all fairly
Luckily, I
level?
don't with ESC. But
Yeah, ESC's hard. Okay, so for the, you know, for, what do you do, both of you, to keep these classes active, fun, you know, when it's gets a bit repetitive? What do you do, Naomi?
yes. So I do a lot of like clapping and jumping, a lot of different actions. It's sometimes quite fun to go by the animations on the PPT. So if they're a fish, we'll swim together, or if the characters are jumping, we'll jump with them. And or sometimes we blow the letters and they think that they're blowing it and moving it, which is really nice.
That's a really nice idea. Yeah.
And like taking turns. So you know, quite often the big letter will come on and the small letter will come on, and so I'll say like, one student, you clap when you see big B, and then you clap when you see little b, and they like taking in turns to be like, is it my turn to clap yet? And
oh, that's a really nice idea. Yeah,
yeah,
like
just
that.
really simple actions and things that they quite like doing. So
Yeah. What about you, Lesley? And what have you picked up in your short time of teaching ESC?
So in some ways, mine mirrors Naomi. So we do a lot of running, jumping, clapping. And then we also do loud and quiet, because I've got a lot of classes with 2 boys and they're loud. So we'll do the really loud and then we'll do the really quiet, just to try and balance it out a little bit as well.
And I was going to think, and what about, you know, if, because we're talking about challenges of keeping it entertaining even. I'm just sort of thinking as I speak, because I know that one of the things I've done quite a lot of is, you know, the endless amount of props. You know, when I've taught ESC, that this desk just looks like a bomb site. It really does. And I had them, I don't know if you can see, so I've got these drawers that, well, they're still open from earlier. These are all my props, and there's some more over here. And I think using as many, you know, not as many props as you can, that probably doesn't sound right, but really useful props. And for some words, you can do it easily. And then, you know, there are some classes when you get, I think one of the weirdest words is gas.
yeah.
In one class, you got gas. Fine. I know it's because they're blending those sounds, but it's a bit odd. And finding a prop for gas could be hard. And then
I guess sometimes it's not so important that they understand what it means. Luckily.
Luckily, yeah. No, I agree. I think it's quite interesting, having taught so much of it now. You really do see that what the words mean are quite irrelevant sometimes. It really is that blending of sounds, isn't it?
Yeah.
What other sort of things would you comment on, Lesley Ann? Anything else
For the props?
Well, props, TPR, things that help, especially because you're teaching such young kids, younger than Naomi and I. So I'm just wondering how you keep them engaged.
A lot of mine really like the alphabet song. Yeah. So I have a cookie jar. And if they do something really good, like they're Velcroed, they get a cookie for the jar. If we fill the jar, we get to sing the alphabet song again. So that's one of the big ones. They like to get the cookies so that they can sing the song.
Yeah, good. I love that. What else? I know that because when I, you know, towards, you'll see, you have the joy of the new chant. You know, they do this chant, you know, they do the letter, go, 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 and then they do tag, go, 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 whatever it is, go, go, go. And then the chant changes as it gets...
let's play.
And I love that. Let's play the rhyming game. And they're doing this. And it's such fun because they, you know, by the end of it, I just sit there and, you know, they're just singing the whole thing on their own. It's such fun. They really like it.
Even the first one as well, the Jesus, and they love it.
Yeah.
But none of them can ever say every letter makes a sound, so they just kind of go.
Doing that. I love your cookie jar. I think it's really interesting. What other challenges? I'm just thinking, you know, if somebody's listening to this who's either just started at Wales or even, you know, somebody who's been there a bit longer, what other really top tips would you give to teachers who are starting to teach ESC? What do you think has really helped you?
I think one of the biggest things is just making sure you arrive with the energy and the enthusiasm to teach it, because the kids are always going to mirror your energy and they're going to follow off what you're doing. So if you arrive and you're really slumped and you're just trying to get them to repeat a letter and it's not very fun, then they're not going to enjoy it either, and they're not going to learn. So you have to be ready to, even on the tiredest days, to just switch into energy teacher mode and go for it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that completely. What about you, Lesley? What are the
I
top
think
tips as a newbie?
One of mine would be sometimes with new children in their first class, they don't want to speak and they won't speak. And that's okay. You can still reward them and give them the stars and tell them they've done good listening or good looking, because the speech will develop as they go through the classes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's
Yeah,
really... sorry. No,
I was going to say, like, don't be afraid if sometimes I think teachers get disheartened if they try something the first time and it doesn't work or the students don't understand. Just keep trying and keep going, because eventually they will pick up on the routine and they will start to understand. So,
and that's actually quite interesting you said that, because I certainly noticed with some of my classes that, you know, for the first few weeks, it wasn't that it was hit and miss, but, you know, you need to get to know the students quite well, know what they like. We were talking about that earlier with your monkey, or, you know, I've got an owl comes out, and, you know, and what they love and what they love doing. And I use a spinner as well to see who's going to read first, and it will take a few weeks for them to settle into the course. And I found for almost all of my classes, you know, it needed sometimes 9-10 lessons for them to actually start gelling as a pair and having the confidence to speak to each other, and from then on it would suddenly, you'd see progress quite significantly. But I think for all of my classes, I would say that was the case. And, you know, you obviously have some that are easier to teach than others. You know, I'm sure we've all got classes we're going, it's them again. And then you've got the others, which is, yes, this is such fun. Oh, dear. Yeah, they're definitely. Now, some of these slides, some of the lessons can be quite short for some of the better kids in content. I know I'm thinking of some of the later lessons when it was book, you know, learn the letters, book, learn the letters. And some of the lessons systematically needed a lot of extension. What sort of things do you do as games or extensions? I don't know if Lesley Ann, you've done this yet, but Naomi probably has, because you've got to the end of the course. What have you done? What do you use?
Luckily, the ones that I have at the end of the course so far have been quite smart. So we do things like asking each other the questions, or making sentences. So today was about things being in the box. This is a prop from today. So I was just putting different things in the box and getting them to tell me what's in the box. And one they really like is we play a spelling game. So I'll spell a word and they'll tell me what word I've just spelled, which is really nice. Obviously ones that are in the material. And they try it with each other and they guess the word.
Great idea. I love that. I haven't done that.
Yeah, they really like that one. And what else do we do? I just had another one in my head and it's gone. No, it's gone.
It's gone.
But yeah, just things like that they love to do, and singing the songs over. They love singing the songs over and over, so that's nice. Just really testing them, I guess, just asking them as many questions as you can. I like to make mistakes as well. I like to just say, oh, this is the letter A. And they're like, no, teacher, it's the letter B. And you're like, oh, sorry, silly me.
How could I have got that wrong?
Yeah. And that takes on so much time. It's really nice.
No, that's a really nice idea. I love that. What about you, Liz? I don't know if you've had any occasions since you've only sort of 5 weeks in, but you may well have games and stuff you do.
Yeah, so I have like some little pencils with the colours on. So we'll ask, what colour is it? They seem to like that one. And then I'll play the game at the end on the review slide. I'll get them to close their eyes and then I'll blank one out and I'll be like, what's missing? And they have to try and remember what's missing. And then I've got like little Ziplocs with some props in for each class.
Yeah.
So I'll pull out something from the previous classes. So like if they're on dot, I pull out from math and I'll be like, oh, what's this? Just to review like things that we've done previously as well.
Oh, that's really nice. I love that.
Another fun thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
I was going to say,
go.
making tongue twisters out of some of the words is quite fun as well. Just trying to see if they can say it really fast without messing up their pronunciation, which sometimes I mess up as well, and it's quite funny.
Which ones have you been using? I love that idea.
Oh, I did the one with Kip and Jip the other day, and it was Kip licks his lips, and it's actually really difficult to say quickly. So yeah, just something that's quite difficult to say, and then
I love that. I tell you, have you two? I don't know if you two have heard of an app. Sorry, I'm looking at my phone because. Have you ever heard of something called Stars to Apples? So it's an app. You do actually pay for it, but it's like, I think it's about £9. But it was developed by a teacher at VIP Kids, and it's only for iPhones. But I bought an iPhone, and it's this amazing. I don't know. Hold on, I've got to show. Yeah. So you see, you can have all sorts of different things, and it has rewards. It has props, and so I make specific things because you can do your own. So I think. You can do find a star. So at the end, they all love their ice cream, but it was, that was apple that we saw. And what's this word? Oh, and I think it was, I have a, was the sentence. And so they would just have to make sentences. And this is absolutely brilliant. I love this. And I've done it so many. And you can reward them by making ice creams and pizzas. And, they love it. So, you've got all sorts of different games on it. So I don't know if you two have iPhones, but if you don't, Google or have a look at Apple to Stars, because it is just a wealth of really quick, we've done that. Sometimes I prep it in advance because I know the lesson that we're doing will cover X, but I use it for all my levels. It's not just ESC, and you can make them quite hard. You can do, you can do tic-tac-toe, all sorts. So it's really a nice little app, that one. I'm just wondering, and I also do, I make quite a few PowerPoint type slides that I'll share to really push them to make more complex sentences right at the end for the better ones. But yeah, no, extensions are quite important. And I'm just wondering if there's anything else, because the chat, we have talked to a degree about what's difficult about ESC. I'm just wondering if there's anything else. If you two have had specific challenges teaching or a class or one particular child, what that challenge was. It might be interesting just to see if there's anything that either one of us could suggest, or it could be something that comes up quite frequently with other teachers. I don't know if there's anything.
Perhaps I know for younger kids sometimes peer-to-peer interaction can be quite difficult. Yeah. And I guess how do you get that into ESC when they can barely understand you, let alone talk to each other?
Yeah. And have you found some solutions to that?
So I have this thing, and we always ask each other, how are you at the beginning of class? Yeah. And let me show you my little prop. So I have this thing, yeah. And the emotions, and then I stick their names on here.
Yeah.
So, and then they ask each other, how are you? And in the first lessons, they don't really understand what I'm asking them to do. Yeah. Oh, I dropped it. But eventually I get them to ask each other, how are you? And then we stick it, and they know that. So that's just beginning. It's something so small, but they ask each other, and they get used to thinking, right, I'm going to have to talk to them during these classes. Yeah. So
that's a really nice, because rapidly there are questions that come into the slides, aren't there? What about you, Lesley? And is there anything particular that you struggle with?
Sometimes getting them to use the pen tool to circle things. I have like a little circle prop, but they don't always, and even the parents sometimes don't understand. So you've got one that's circling and one that's doing this with their finger in the air.
Yeah.
And I wish there was like some kind of button with a translation for please use the pen tool, just to try and.
Sometimes, that's a really, or they just start drawing everywhere, don't they? I tell you something else. No, that's, the peer-to-peer in ESC is an interesting one because it is quite hard to do. I think, again, I love that idea of your your how are you thing. And I've also used, I haven't got it with me, but, sort of with numbers and how old are you? And I'll sort of put numbers 1 to 5 and they can say, with the structure, I am. And, to start getting them to say things like that. And then I always get them to say hello, which is fairly basic. But at the beginning, sometimes even doing that is, they really struggle just to say, hi Rosie, hi John, or whatever their names are. And I think maybe it's shyness, because afterwards it comes. But one of the things I had one particular class, which was, there was this one girl who was just on, I don't know, steroids, just all over the place. Absolutely not. I don't know if that's the right word, but just could not stay still. And her partner was really diligent and worked really hard. And this girl, it was like every single lesson, she'd come with half a ton of toys and she'd sit like this, or, have an, like this, and she'd do this and, put it up block the camera out. And, it was just, and working with a child like that, it's really quite hard to constantly be bringing them back into the lesson without it meaning the other students' learning is not sort of reduced. Have you had any kids like this?
Yeah, I had one, and she just kept walking around the room and playing with her toys, and the mum was just kind of sat at the screen watching me and watching her, and I was like, I don't know what to do anymore.
I know. Have you, Lesley Ann?
Yeah, I've had a couple where they've wandered off, and then the parent starts doing the lesson instead, and then you're like, oh, good job, Mama. Where's Johnny? But yeah, it's difficult.
It is difficult. I mean, in fact, I've just remembered there's another one that I had like this, who was barely able to say 5 words at the end of the whole course. She was just, never, ever, ever focused on what we were doing. But, I think what I ended up doing is, the one who wasn't ever focused, I just taught her classmate who really was and wanted to learn. And you just sort of engage the other child and praise them as much as you can when they did get engaged. The other one was just, I used to sort of, come back to class. But it's so hard. That's one of the things I struggle with personally, when you've got a child that does not want to engage and you've tried everything. I don't really know the solution to it, but
I don't think there is. I think as long as you try and do everything you can. I mean, we physically can't stick our arms through the camera and put them back on the chair. So I think, try your best, be exciting. And I think most importantly, don't show anger or anything. Just keep being kind and keep trying to be warm. And if they don't want to do anything, then really there's nothing to do.
I suppose it's just, you really hope those lessons aren't the ones that are evaluated.
Yeah, but actually I had in one of my pre-K, the child was being quite difficult, and the evaluator was just like, look, I could see you tried everything, and the child was just not cooperating. So I think as long as you're seen to be visibly trying and you genuinely do try, not just for evaluations, but just because you genuinely want the child to engage, then that's fine.
Yes, I think you're right. Now, are there any other questions in particular, anything else you'd want to share about your experiences teaching ESC? Any really great props at work, or any really great techniques if people are watching this and want to say, okay, right, I'm writing all these great pieces of advice down. Is there anything else you'd say as a sort of top piece of advice for new ESC teachers?
I think the main one would be to establish a routine, establish familiarity in things like your teaching style and the instructions that you use. For example, where we always open with how are you, the kids know what's expected of them. When I say, are you ready? They're taught to say, let's go. And so just making sure that everything you do is repetitive in that sense, so that they really understand. And once you have that out the way, once the classroom rules and everything are established, you can really focus on the materials. So you're not constantly having to explain things to them because they know what to do.
Absolutely. I think that's a brilliant piece of advice. Lesley Ann, what about you?
Very similar, like have the routine, say their hellos to each other. And then we also do their, are you ready? And they put thumbs up and say, I'm ready. And then also engaging with the parents, say hello to them at the start and goodbye at the end, because they're there as well. So just keeping everyone happy.
I know. I so agree with you. It's actually one of the things I really enjoy about ESC is that you really do have that relationship with the parents, and you can hear them. There was one class I taught where the parents would be, I'll get them to say, right, come on, mums, let's high five Johnny and Jane or whatever, because they were doing so well. So that was part of the routine in the classroom, was that the parents would be high-fiving and the kids would be high-fiving each other or whatever it was. But it's really nice, and that pair of parents are great because they sort of cheered on the other student as well as their own. And it was you really got this sort of feel of a group working together, and that was just so nice. So yeah, I think the parent thing is really important. And just, I personally would say, just enjoy it, because actually when you teach these classes well, they are some of the most rewarding classes to teach. If it's your thing, because some people don't like to teach 2 or 3-year-olds, because it's not the easiest, but it is great fun. Okay.
I think bring the fun and humour as well, because we could potentially be the first ever foreign teacher they've experienced or had. And personally, I like to always say, as my teaching style, I like to sort of make learning a bit more fun, which is what ESC is about. So bring that to them, bring them a different learning experience that they don't get at school.
And they'll remember you.
Yeah.
And then they'll
hopefully the English.
Yeah. and I think the other thing is, because assuming you stay teaching with Wales, obviously we never quite know what may happen. But if you do stay, you have the potential to see them, and if they stay, really, really, you were there when their English language learning started, and you could potentially follow them all the way through the next several courses until they're able to blah away with you and answer quite hard. I haven't got there yet, but that would be great fun to see.
Yeah, it would.
Wouldn't it? It would be fab, but we'll see. Who knows? But, right, is there anything else we need to say? Otherwise, I think that was a really lovely little sort of sharing moment of things, and I love some of those tips you've shared. Is there anything else that you haven't shared that is wonderful? Because I mean, just for me, just seeing what you two have, brought up with props, because I don't have as many as you do. I think I don't use so much stuff, but I think it's great seeing what you've done.
Trying to think what we said and what I haven't. I have these things for I like and I don't like. This is another extension I quite often do.
Lovely.
Just to so they can understand, because I do you like, and they're like, huh?
Yeah.
So this, this works quite nicely.
I bet they love their lions. Yeah, those are really nice.
Yeah.
What about you, Lesley Ann? Have you got any other brilliant things that you bring to your lesson?
I bring stickers, and then if they do something really wonderful, they get to choose a sticker. Today was jungle animals. And then I'll stick it. I'll be like, where shall I stick it? Nose, head, and they'll choose where to stick the sticker. And that sometimes gets a good giggle.
Yeah. It's all about the relationship you build with them, isn't it? It
yeah,
really
they
is.
love humour. Humour is just the top, I think.
Yeah. I think once you've got these kids laughing, you have them in the palm of your hand, because they will connect to you and they enjoy their learning, don't they? I think that's a great idea. I love it. I'm going to go out. I've got things I want to start making, because I'm not very good at doing that. I'm terrible. I bring stuff to the class, but I don't make that much, or I do, and then I don't necessarily use it. And I've got this one, I have things like, this is a bad example, but it's on my desk. I've got stuff like that. But I really like those I don't like things. Simple, but very effective. Right then. Okay. So I'm going to say thank you so much for coming along. And Naomi, Lesley Ann, it's been really great to share this with you. I've learned lots as well.
It's been really nice.
Yeah,
Thank
it's been
you.
really
Thank
nice.
you.
We'll have to get together, since we're sort of southwest of English.
It's nice to talk to people, because I think when you're doing this job, I talk to my family and friends about it, and they don't really understand what you're saying sometimes, because it's nice to.
And it's nice actually to physically see each other, isn't it? Because it's not through Facebook, and you see all these names in the Facebook groups, but you don't really know who people are. So it's lovely. Hopefully we can do this a lot, and get more and more teachers who want to get involved. All right, thank you so much. It's been lovely to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Thank
really
you. Nice to meet
Take
you.
care. Bye. So there we go. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.